Okay, so we got our hood prepped on this Tesla Model 3. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my slip solution and spray the hood down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the back corner and I'm going to create a dry spot. I'm going to take the paint protection film and I'm just going to stick the paint protection film down on this dry spot of the hood. And then I'm just going to back roll it into place. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come over here to this corner, lift the film up. I'm going to come over to the front, lift it up so it's not sticking. I'm going to spray the back of the adhesive as well as the paint. There we go. Now, okay, what I want to do is I want to spray a bunch of slip solution over top of the film as well, because that's going to help the squeegee glide better. Now, as far as starting, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come down over here to the Tesla emblem, and we're going to get this down first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up so the emblem is perfectly even. Lift the film up, spray my hot water tack solution underneath there, center it, come in there with the squeegee, and I'm going to squeegee this down. So I'm also going to get this whole area down around the emblem as well too, as there's going to be a little bit of stretching required to get the PPF into place on the back corners. Okay, now we're going to come over here to the driver's side back corner, and we actually really don't even need to stretch this at all. Just need to move this over a little bit into place. I'm going to pull the film back, get my tack solution behind there. I'm going to line that corner up, come in here with my squeegee, I should say. I'm going to squeegee that down. Anytime you're squeegeeing, you always want to make sure your first pass is with pretty light pressure, and then the passes after that, there's always just a little bit more pressure. And that's going to lock the film into place. Now we're going to go over to the passenger side, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Just going to hold that there, squeegee that down, get that whole corner tacked down. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is we got these air bubbles under the film. All I'm going to do is just going to move those out or push those out with my hands. Just like so. Now comes the fun part of squeegeeing everything down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the Tesla emblem where I started, and I'm just going to take my squeegee and I'm going to go up all the way out the back. There we go. Now we're going to do this in halves. So we're going to start on the passenger side I'm gonna have my squeegee at an angle, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come along this back edge, and I'm gonna push everything out the back. There we go. Now everything else in this section is all gonna come out the side and out the front. So overlap your squeegee strokes. By overlapping your squeegee strokes, you're going to prevent any moisture from being left behind. You may still find some moisture left behind afterwards, and the reason why is there's so much moisture solution underneath the film that it soaks into the adhesive, and as that adhesive starts to dry itself out, you might start to see some bubbles. Those bubbles will dissipate under the sun over time, or what you can do, you can just take a diabetic's needle and pop those. That's going to be completely fine as well too. So I have a piece of contamination right here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my slip solution. I'll be right back. I'm going to pull the film up, get more solution underneath it. All I'm going to do now is come in there with my finger and pull that out. There we go. That's perfect. Now I'm just going to go back over this area and squeegee all that solution out. One thing you want to do when you're squeegeeing is you don't want to stop with a squeegee stroke right at the edge. What you want to do is you want to follow through and make sure no moisture is getting left at this edge. Now that we've got the passenger side done, we're just going to repeat the same steps on the driver's side. Same thing, I'm going to angle my squeegee. I'm going to squeegee this all out the back. Make sure that's down. Same thing, just overlapping squeegee strokes. So we got this big finger over here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull the film like this and try and eliminate as much of that finger as possible. Actually, I'm going to get my slip solution. I'm just going to lift the film up. I'm going to spray more slip solution underneath the film. Go. Now, just going to squeegee that down. You see that finger wanting to pop up right here? That's completely fine. What we're going to do is we're just going to hit some tack solution in here. A hot water tack solution. All I'm going to do now is just with my squeegee at an angle, I'm going to angle that finger down. Go. Now we can continue with everything else. I'm going to push the air out. We're going to come back up over here, and we're going to continue. All right, elephant in the room. We got this big finger here again. We're going to take and get rid of this the exact same way as we did when it was over here. All we're going to do is just lift it up, get some more tack solution underneath here, and we're going to come across and we're just going to saw that down. Create a bunch of smaller fingers which are easier to manage. You're probably thinking to yourself, if you're watching this and you're wondering, Why are we having fingers over here and none on that side? Well, the reason being is these Tesla emblems are never exactly 100% centered when put on the vehicle. They're always off a little bit. So this one's obviously off a little bit one way, which is creating some fingers over here, but these fingers are super easy to deal with as long as you know what to do. So we're just gonna pull the film up, get more tack solution underneath it, and just saw this down at an angle. And there we go. Now one thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna go and grab a rag. I'm just gonna dry this hood off. While I'm doing this, I'm also looking for any contamination that may be left underneath the film. Because if you find contamination now, it's the best time to pull it out because the PPF is not 100% bonded to the paint yet. As that adhesive starts to dry out, it's going to be a lot harder to remove it. So we don't have any contamination. We do have a stone chip right over here, but we did not have touch-up paint to touch that up, so we're just going to leave that one. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the hood open to about here. I'm going to come around I'm going to flush these edges out with my hot water. So I'm getting rid of all the soap solution that we just squeegeed out. And now the hard part is doing this back edge. If you're smart, unlike me, you would do the back edge first. That way you're not getting dripped on like I am. Okay, now we can come back up here. We'll start in the middle and we'll start to flush all that soap out. There we go. So the reason I'm doing that, flushing it out, is because you want to get rid of all the soap that you used to do your paint protection film install. Now, by drying it out, when we get rid of the soap, it's going to dry out the film and it's going to make it stickier faster. So what I like to do, I start on the hood, pop the hood up just like this, and then I will continue on with the rest of my paint protection film installation. And then by the time you're done everything else, come back and your edges will be completely dried and they'll be super, super easy to wrap. So I'm gonna have a link in the description below on how to wrap your edges. I'm also gonna have a video on how to properly prep your panel. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video.